Nerd Reactor, roll out.
All right. Okay, Shogun, Josh, how's it going?
Great. Thanks for having us, John.
Yeah, and thanks for taking the time for doing the interview. And so, Lone Samurai,
Yes.
the concept, part of it's like I've been playing Ghost of Tsushima, so I've been like invested in this world of the Mongol army invading Japan or trying to invade Japan, and then you have this setting. So I'm like, yes, we get to see this like in live action, and then also a lone samurai one versus many, and then you got the cast with Yayan, etc. So I'm like, it's just like, kind of feels like Samurai meets the Raid. So I guess for each of you, yeah, inspiration.
Thank
uh,
you. I mean, inspiration is like all over the place, to be honest. I mean, the raid elements, I mean, are just obvious because it's all of the Uwais team, and like the entire cast outside of Shogun are basically the Uwais stunt team, you know. Um, but yeah, my influences, are anywhere from the Black Stallion, which is a shipwreck movie, little boy shipwreck movie. First half of it, he's by himself with just a horse, and the second half of it is like it's a horse racing movie, so it's kind of two halves. So I liked that dynamic. And then films, Sword of Doom, Harakiri. I know that there were people have said like references to like Apocalypto, but I think that's really only because you have cannibals and, vicious primitives running through the jungle type thing. But yeah, I mean, my God, I can pull from so many inspirations. Like it would take up the whole, it would take up the whole interview.
oh yeah, and
Mm.
Shogun.
Yeah, the Josh encouraged me to move away from the traditional cliche image of samurai combat. So, while keeping the spirit of sword action, I just embraced the distinctive choreography created by the Wise team. And when I first read the script, I thought it was simply about surviving against the enemies, cannibals. But through rehearsals with Wise team and Yaya and Ruhian, I came to realize it was more than that, a way of communicating beyond the words. And perhaps because we had gone through such intense training together, so during the fight scene with them, I even felt a deep sense of respect and gratitude toward him. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And throughout
Yeah.
the decades, there's been so many samurai films and shows, and this year there's been many, like Ghost of Yote, the video game. We got the Last Samurai Standing on Netflix, and a lot. So, I guess
A
for each of you, what
lot.
is it about the samurai that just makes people just so invested to this day still?
I mean, I can't really answer that. I think that a lot of it has to do with like their code of conduct. You know what I mean? They were people that lived by a code. You know what I mean? And didn't make them flawless people. But they definitely followed a code, and I think that's a tough thing for people to understand, especially these days. Because I think most people don't live by a code, especially in the modern era. Um, I joke that like, the most stress-free time in my life that I've ever had was when I was in Marine Corps boot camp. Because, well, everyone else is like, boot camp, it's the worst, it's this. It's like for me, it meant that I didn't have to deal with my brain anymore. I just needed to kind of follow orders and, do a thing, and it was pretty stress-free. And I think that like warriors, people are fascinated by that, by the discipline and by the warrior, aesthetic, I think. And I was not, I was less drawn to like the samurai of it all and more just thinking about, who would I like to see kind of like plopped on an island dealing with their stuff. And like a lot of those early like the early versions of the script, I would write this thing in the beginning. It's like, okay, well, the Mongolians come, and then like you have the small bands of samurai that like they're gonna take boats out and attack them. And I thought like, oh, that's a cool kind of device, And then like I did more research, and it's like, oh, they actually did that. There were samurais that were like, fuck this, and they went out to try to like kill people or to try to take them out. Um, And as far as like all the samurai stuff coming out right now, it's just, like I came up with it 10 years ago. So there was no way for me to anticipate that like, we'd have the Shogun series and like,
Oh yeah.
all this stuff. I've never played Ghosts of whatever. So that was not an influence at all,
Yeah.
Sorry,
Shogun, what about
Yeah.
you? Yeah.
I don't know what we're talking about.
Which is the
Yeah, for
awesomeness of
even for
samurai.
me, oh sorry, yeah, even for me, like I try not to play samurai. I just focus on playing a man who lost his beloved family and seeking a place to die. And the funny thing was, ironically, he ends up surviving alone on a deserted island, and
Yep.
I just focus on he's surviving. That's so for me, it's not a just a man try to
Yeah.
survive.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
And yeah, this movie can get really brutal with limbs being torn off and lots of blood. So I was wondering I guess for each of you, whether there's a limit to how much blood and gore you want to add into this.
No, never a limit on blood. No, just kidding. Honestly, if I had had my way, there would be a lot more blood and a lot more limbs. A lot. Like there was a line in the script that said, heads literally begin to roll. And like I wanted to see heads rolling. And, budget shit like got in the way of like all that kind of stuff. And we wanted there to be blood, but I didn't want it to be Kill Bill. You know what I mean? I didn't want it to be, I didn't want it to be, manga or anything like that. I wanted to have blood, but have it be like more realistic. And I also didn't want it to be like, like overtly gory. Like there's a lot of stuff in the movie where like the sound design and everything makes you go, ugh, ugh. But like if you put it on mute, you're like not really watching anything. There's nothing gory, you know. So yeah, if I had had my way, it would probably be a lot more red.
And I guess Shogun, for you, what was that like just being on the set of that, seeing that? Because behind the scenes, you're probably like, ah, this is like fake prosthetics and all that, compared to like watching it as a viewer, and you're like, ooh. So yeah,
sorry, I couldn't.
yeah, my question would be like, what is it like just being on the set to see like how it is being made, all the gore, compared to as a viewer, you would see it like you would feel like either disgusted or kind of like, whoa, this is kind of cool. I love blood.
Yeah, 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 yeah. My favorite part was I mean we can't tell you the detail. I mean tell the audience the details, but my first fight and the final fight were amazing. That you know what I'm talking about. The first, you remember the first fight?
Well, the first fight, you mean on the
Yeah,
boat?
first fight and the final fight. Oh, not the
The
boat.
f- or the
That with the two guys in a cave.
Oh yeah, that was amazing. I thought you meant like the
Yeah.
boat, but that was the first
Oh, no.
time
Yeah, yeah.
the the opening of the movie was
That
originally
was
supposed to be
that was
like
tough.
a 3 or 4 minute like long zoom in on the underbelly of this boat where, well, he kills all these people, right? Now, in the edit, we chopped it up, broke it up because it was too long. But the reason it was too long is because we built this boat on the set, a huge boat. It was the only set we built was this boat or the undercarriage of the boat. And we had like, rain and water effects, and it was rocking back and forth on a gimbal and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, look, we only have a couple shots at this, if that. So Shogun practiced like a couple times, and then he goes back and we get ready to shoot it. And instead of being like 3 minutes long, it was like 6 minutes long. But like everyone on the set and like on the stage was captivated. Like we were just like watching. And then finally, Shogun does his final beat and we called cut, and like the whole stage erupted in like applause. It was so amazing. It was like watching
I
a,
was,
a live performance. It was incredible.
Oh yeah.
I went off on a
And
tangent.
it's all right. But that's all
but
the
you got
time I
you
have.
chop
Oh
it.
shit, I'm sorry, John.
It's all right. But Shogun, Josh, it's a pleasure chatting with you both. And yeah, have a great rest of your day.
Thank you
Thanks,
very
John.
much.
You too.
No problem.